Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I can remind everyone to please turn off your cell phones.
From the 121st Psalm. Mesoina yel heharim, me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. Al yatein lamot raglecha, al yanum shomrecha. Hine lo yanum velo yishan shomer Yisrael, Adonai shomrecha. Adonai tzilcha al yad yaminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka. Yareach b'layla, Adonai yishmorcha mikol ra. Yishmor et nafshecha, Adonai yishmor tzidcha b'lecha me'ata v'yad olam. I will lift up mine eyes unto the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. Behold, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your soul. The Lord will guard you going out and you coming in, this time forth and forevermore. Our God and God of all generations. Thou governest all things with infinite wisdom and mercy. Thou guidest the destinies of all of humankind. As a parent have you loved us and showered your blessings upon us. Therefore we shall not murmur even when sorrow befalls us. But with humility and unfaltering trust we shall accept your decrees. In joy and in sorrow alike we praise your goodness and acknowledge your justice. We remember that we are but strangers upon earth. Like a shadow, our life flees away. Help us, O God, so to walk in your sight, that when the few years of our earthly pilgrimage are ended, we may be ready to meet our end with tranquil mind. Here we look for comfort and strength. One of our beloved is taken from us. The link is broken in the chain of love which binds us together. Though we walk in the valley of the shadow of death, we shall fear no evil, for you are with us. Praised, O eternal our God, in all your dispensations. Sanctified be your name, now and forevermore. Let's sit together. Friends, I want now first to call upon Ernie's grandson, Dylan, to share some words of his own, and then to read some words that his mother has written.
Hi, I'm Dylan, Arnold's grandson, but he was Poppy to me. My Poppy was a great man. He was a great son, brother, father, husband, grandfather, and great-grandfather. But this word great alone does not do Poppy justice. The dictionary lists 11 definitions of great. Well, few would describe Poppy as notably large in size, the first, or large in number, the second. Every other definition applies. Third, remarkable in magnitude, degree, or effectiveness. Example, sending his vegetarian daughter Omaha Steak of the Month Club to convert her back to eating meat worked really well. And also taught me about chicken Kiev and beef Wellington. Fourth, great like a great time. We all had great times with Poppy over the years. I'll never forget how he taught us to make glasses sing and flip sugar packets with spoons when we were bored at fancy restaurants as kids. Fifth, eminent and distinguished. Poppy, I remember your leather jacket, ponytail, and earrings in your 80s. That is distinguished. Sixth, markedly superior in character or quality. As you'll hear, Poppy was so generous to all. I'm so thankful how he helped me, and my life would not be what it was today without him. Seventh, remarkably skilled or marked by enthusiasm. Poppy was so good at and loved so many things, but even more, he loved sharing what he loved with others. From bribing me to water ski to building model rockets with us, Poppy taught us to love learning. Eighth, more remote than a single generation. Poppy was the great-grandfather to my children, Neela and Roshan, as well as to Tucker, Sam, Molly, and Quincy. I wish my children and the other great-grandchildren could have spent more time with Poppy, but I know that all of us will pass on the gifts that he gave to us to them. Ninth, long continued. At 89 years of age, Poppy had a great, long life, and knowing how full his life was gives me comfort. 10th, principle or main. I learned so many lessons from Poppy over the years, including owning up after you crash a golf cart. He has been a main inspiration, teacher, and guide for me. 11, full of emotion. We are feeling great sadness today. Poppy, I wish I had another chance to see you and say goodbye. But I know Poppy would be feeling great happiness to see us all together. Poppy, you were a great man. I love you and will miss you always. Okay, and now I will do a reading for my mom, Arnold's daughter. Hi, I'm Sherry, Arnold's daughter. I'm reading on behalf of her. Okay, I'm not too good for her. Yeah, okay. So you had to clear that up. Hi, I'm Sherry, Arnold's daughter, Daddy's girl. Dad was my hero. Whether he was pulling me out from a pile of snow after a tumble on the ski slopes, or rushing to pull me from a school of angry minnows in a lake following a water ski fall, or dashing into the riding rink to save me from a horse while stuck in an upside saddle that had been cinched too loose, even though he was afraid of horses, or just flying out to help me drive home from college, he was always there for me. In recent years, we shared many hours discussing and debating the nuances of homeowners associations and their various governing documents, always looking for the angle to influence or change things for the better. A weird shared experience that only HOA nerds can appreciate. Dad was the best father to me and grandfather to my children. His enthusiastic zest for life, family, and joy were such great gifts and models for us all. His love of healthy living, fitness, and great food was evident throughout his life and such an inspiration. His was a life well lived until his very last day. His last day included time on his exercise bike, trading stocks, driving to the bank, and enjoying what I am certain was one of Susan's fabulous home cooked meals. I think he loved Susan's cooking as much as he loved Susan. Dad was the most generous man I'd ever known, generous in spirit, time, wisdom, and advice. In fact, if there is a God, God is with her now, offering gentle, wise counsel on how to improve heaven. Dad loved connecting with people uniquely and deeply. There's not a person who met him, even for the shortest amount of time, who didn't come away profoundly moved by his kindness and fun spirit. Rest in peace, my sweet dad. I will miss you for the rest of my life.
Now I want to call upon Arnie's stepson, Michael, who's been a part of Arnie's life for a long time, to share some thoughts.
Hello, everyone. It's very nice to see a lot of you again. I've known Arnold since I was 5, and I'm very happy that I already did. Very good husband to my mother, I'm sure all of you know, very generous. And thinking about what I would like to share with all of you from my perspective is not just that he was generous, but that was just who he was. It wasn't just that he wanted to be a good man, but that's just what he enjoyed doing. He liked being of service to others, and it was just his default. And what a wonderful example for me to follow at the best I can. I don't think I will. I think the bar is pretty high with Arnold, but I feel very, very grateful to have known him for so long and all the wonderful people there in his family. So thank you.
There is no piece of literature used more. Don't worry, Sandy, I haven't forgotten. Trust me, no one forgets you, Sandy. Getting ready to get up here. I'll be next. Be patient with me, Sandy. That would be new for you to be patient with me. There is no piece of literature used more often at a moment like this than the words of the 23rd Psalm. And the reason, I suppose, is because it says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death." And therefore, we think that that's enough of a reason to use it. But I learned a long time ago, I was a rabbinic student when I learned this. I learned that King David had something else in mind. It wasn't just to talk about the valley of the shadow of death. He was trying to say to mourners, to all of you as mourners, don't get stuck in the valley. Walk through it. As difficult as it might be, that really is our task. So I'm going to read the Psalm in Hebrew and say it in English. I'd like to say it with me. Adonai roi lo echzor, bino deshe yarbitzeni al mei menuchotin halim. Nafshi yeshovei v'yancheni b'magle tzedek l'man shemo. Gam ki elech b'geit samavet. Lo ira ra ki ata imadi. Shivtecha u'mishantecha hema yinachamun. Ta'aroch lefanai shulchan neged sorai. Shanta b'shemen roshi kasiravaya. Ach tov v'chesed. Yirdafuni kol yomei chayai. Shavti b'veit Adonai la'olech yomei. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, I shall dwell in the house of God forever. Okay, Sandy. In case you didn't know, Sandy's one of the sons.
I've already been told how long I can go. So now, first thing I want to say, Dad had a little twist on walking through the valley of the shadow of death. And he would say it's because he was the meanest blankety blank in the valley. I wore this hat today because it symbolizes my dad. Kind of his entire essence was live lucky, make your own path in life, and you become what you think about most. So I got this for him and was going to give it to him on his 90th birthday, which would have been January 25th. I'm going to leave. You're going to hear a lot of stories from Rabbi Foster here in a minute, and I think it's better that it comes that way from Rabbi Foster, who knows him for all these years.
You know what I'm going to say. I already told you I don't know what I'm going to say.
That's why I was saying I was going to leave a lot for you to say. But I wanted to share just a few things that I told my nephews. And I know everyone that is here knew my father one way or another. And, you know, I was thinking, what one thing was he? And he wasn't one thing. He was everything. And to so many people, he was a different than he was to others. But he was unique and he was special. And while we sit here and maybe we're thinking, and we are sad, I think that it's also a time to rejoice and be happy in his life and know that his spirit and his essence never dies as long as we take his knowledge that he shared with all of us and his teachings, and we share that with others as well. Then Arnold lives on forever. And last thing I want to say is I'm going to tell you about lobsters. My dad loved lobsters. And Bernie asked me the other day, Sandy, do you think Dad ate 100 lobsters in his lifetime? And I said, Bernie, Dad ate probably 3 lobsters a week. So if you add that up, Dad's probably eaten tens of thousands of lobsters. So while this is a somber and sad day for all of us, there's lobsters all over the world that are breathing a sigh of relief.
The poet has written, birth is a beginning and death is a destination. But life itself is a journey, a growing from stage to stage. From childhood to maturity and from youth to age. From innocence to awareness and from ignorance to knowing. From foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom. From weakness to strength or from strength to weakness. And often back again. From health to sickness and back we pray to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love. Joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion. From grief to understanding and from fear to faith. From defeat to defeat and to looking backward or ahead. We see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage, sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, death is a destination. Life itself is a journey, sacred pilgrimage made stage by stage. Birth to death to life that is everlasting. Dear family, beloved friends, I hope that you will permit me just a few moments to add to these beautiful words that have already been shared with us. And the words that 2 other sons, Ken and Arnie, have shared with me, and I will read them. But if I say, I mean Bernie. Forgive me, Arnie. I'll read those words the end of this eulogy, but I want to share some thoughts with you to add to these not only beautiful words, but such tender expressions of love. And if you had been with us yesterday, you would have heard so many stories. And each one of them was about Arnie and the way he tried to live in his highest moments. He recognized that this is a difficult day for this family. It's complicated. On the one hand, all of us are grateful that he did not suffer at the end of his life. He lived to the end of his life. Not loud enough? How about this? Better? Is that better? Some people didn't have trouble with me anyways. But they will. They're going to go like this in a few minutes. Life is complicated. So some of us are shocked that he has gone so quickly. Others, I think most of us understand this is really a time of bittersweetness. Death really came to him as a friend, just short of his 90th birthday. Yes, he would have liked to live longer. But death came as a friend because he died in his sleep. I know most of you. And at one time or another, just about everybody here has said to me, I would like to go in my sleep. I don't want to suffer, etc. That's what makes this moment complicated, because he is gone, and that's difficult for you as family. Because you didn't have that chance to say that final goodbye. On the other hand, there is a sweetness to this moment, because each of you is grateful that he did not suffer at the end of his life. And so at this moment, for Susan, beloved children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, what a tremendous legacy he has left behind. Susan's smiling right now because she knows, I mean, these 42 years that they shared together, they were good years. They were good years. Not every day was perfect. Even though she said to me yesterday, we never yelled at each other. Not for one moment do I believe that. Having been married 56 years myself, I know that. He's a sweet guy. He's a nice person. All the things that you have shared and will share in a few moments, they are wonderful remembrances. So we can learn how sacred life really is by understanding this moment. Our moments in life are not about the biography that we leave behind. Everybody will remember moments that they shared with them. But this is not about biography. This is about who this person was, because who he was determined what he did, not the other way around. You can't look at somebody's life and say, oh, they did this, 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 and this, and therefore they were. It's just the opposite. Who he was helped direct him to be the kind of person who did what he did. And that becomes a challenge for all of us. We do what we do because we learn from those who have traveled this path before us. As I so often do, and some of you have heard me, I still think it's important. I want to share, you as a family, you have tasks to perform. Not easy. As a matter of fact, it's sometimes more difficult because of the suddenness of his passing. You have to grieve for your loss. That's number one. Can't hold back. If that means tears, that's okay. If that means frustration and anger because he's gone and didn't tell us, it's okay. You have to grieve for your loss because your lives are not the same. Nobody's going. Secondly, and I always say this because I think it's so true, you have to wonder. Task is to wonder about the miracle of birth. And certainly you guys shared that miracle of birth with those grandchildren and great grandchildren. What a wonderful legacy. You shared that miracle. You have to wonder about that. We also have to wonder about the mystery of death. This is a mysterious time. No matter how many of us there are here, we all have different points of view about what's going to happen to us when we're gone. I hope that you're correct. Yeah. That there will be something beyond, and maybe it's a he, maybe it's a she, I don't know. But I'm not prepared to say it's only a male. Could be a female. It's okay. There may be something beyond this world, and for some of us, there may not be anything beyond this world. And it's okay, as long as we live by that mystery that we hold dear. We've said this 10,000 times. People ask me all the time, Rabbi, what's going to happen when I die? And I say, I have two answers. Number one, I don't know. I have not been there. And number two, I am not anxious to find out. And while that sounds funny, it's serious. No matter what we are and who we are, we're not anxious about the end of our life. Third task is to remember who he was. In all of those moments of joy, in all of those moments in which he tried to share as best he could who he was. In all of those moments that he tried to create memories for each of you. For all of those moments when he tried to make you better people. Even if he took a strap. I love this story yesterday. I had to include it someplace. Even if he took a strap because your mother wanted him to punish you for what you had done. And he said, every time the strap hits the bed, scream, because then she'll know that I was serious. But it didn't matter. But that's a joyous memory. Wonderful way to remember him. So those memories, each one of them for each of you, because they were different, they were important. But lastly, and I believe this with all my heart and soul, and I believe that this is true, especially for grandchildren and great-grandchildren. For the great-grandchildren, have the grandchildren make sure that they speak to them about who he was. Because, they're young kids. They're going to forget, or they're not going to know very well. So we have to share that. Not just for the purpose of sharing who he was, but for the purpose of trying to continue who he was for the next generations. That's what gives us a sense of immortality. And that's what I believe we're about here today. Second major issue I want to share with you. He was first generation American. I realize that his parents were probably very young when they came here, but they understood from their parents. They came here for a real reason. And that was to find freedom. That was to find safety. Well, we can talk all we want about the streets were paved with gold. It's not why people came here from Eastern Europe. They came here because of the anti-Semitism in Eastern Europe. And we dare not forget that, especially in this age, especially today and yesterday, as we hear about those people who have followings who are anti-Semitic, or anti-Black, or anti-white. We cannot forget that first generation that came here to find freedom. And they bequeathed to people like Arnold, first generation born here, a responsibility. And that was to secure that freedom for the next generations. And I don't just mean financially. He did great. Oh, he did okay. It doesn't matter. He secured that freedom for the next generation. And that was his task. And you, as that second generation born here, your task is to make sure that we don't forget it. There is continuity of spirit with us. We don't forget what our parents and our grandparents came here to find. And that's what we pass on to the next generation. So what was he? Number one, he was the center of these lives, but the center of many people's lives. Even if he wouldn't take credit for a lot of it, he was the center of people's lives. He had a love of people, whether they had or didn't have, whether they lived in a palace or lived on the streets. He appreciated who people were for who they were, not for what they had. He honored people where they were. And that's important for us, not only to remember, but for us to emulate. You said to me yesterday that he loved the 31 flavors of Baskin Robbins. I don't know if he liked them all, but he liked the idea. There were different flavors for different folks, and that we're all unique in our lives. He urged you as his children, all of you. Where did Michael go? There he is. And you too, Michael. He urged all of you to be the best that you could be. Not to be satisfied. Not to just sort of live life. But to live it and try to do the best you can. And not to compare yourselves to others. To make sure that you did what you did because of who you are. He respected that. He had a grand spirit. He really did. He was that kind of person that you wanted to be around. I told my kids the other day, my kids, 54, 52, 47. I mean, they've been around here for a while. And when I mentioned that Arnie had died, my two sons who knew him, he was the guy with the ponytail. But they remembered him. That's my point. They remembered him because he impacted their lives as well. Each grandchild was special. And he related to each one of them because of what they wanted, how they want to be remembered. He was not prejudiced in any way. Important in this day and age to learn that. He was a good person. He was welcoming. He was generous. I want to share two stories about his generosity. I've been here a long time. It's about 50 years ago, Lisa Tippman was killed in an automobile accident. Best daughter, Joey, of blessed memories, daughter. And Jay's sister. It's a long time ago. But I will always remember Arnie coming to me after that funeral and saying, "Can we talk?" He wanted to make sure that there would be something lasting in her name. And together with others, but he was the force and gave the biggest amount. He didn't want anyone to know. He didn't want anyone to know the amount. And it was substantial. The Temple created the least rate Tippman Education and Scholarship Fund, from which thousands of kids have benefited over these 50 years. And why? Because that was Arnold. He wanted to make sure that he could do the best that he could do and keep somebody's memory alive. That's what he wanted. Second story has to do with the temple. I remember years ago, we used to have services in the sanctuary, and Rabbi Stone would give the sermon on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur morning, and I got the auditorium, and that was fun. And we had a prayer book in the auditorium that was not the same as the prayer book in the sanctuary. For the first few years, we printed them up and put some new readings in and so on and so forth. And one year, Arnie came to me, Arnie and Susan together, came to me and they said, this isn't right. So Arnie wrote a check, make sure that the next year we would have the new prayer books from the Reform movement to use in that service. And then eventually to be used in the sanctuary. Didn't want anything for that. And he didn't want his name in the front of that prayer book either. I think some of them escaped and some of them got there, but that's not what he wanted. His father's name, okay. But that's the way he was. He was so generous with his means, with his ability, and he made a difference because of that. He loved the lake on which they lived, even though he was afraid of water. But he liked other people to learn how to ski. So he made sure that he utilized his boat and that lake to teach people. He taught you to be accountable for who you are and what you do. Not somebody else's fault if you make a mistake. It's yours. And it's not to somebody else's credit if you do right. It's you. And he said that to you guys. And you, yesterday, that's what you shared with me. A wonderful memory to have of this wonderful person. He had a great sense of humor. He was playful and whimsical. And he would do things that bring laughter and smiles. Because he understood. That's how we make the best of ourselves. We love to travel. We love to create memories, especially for those grandchildren. He was a terrific guy. I will miss him. I love this guy. Ponytail and all. So let me read from Ken Burning. First from Burning. My dad has always just been my dad to me. However, as I got older and more into life, I came to understand that he was really larger than life. All the things he taught me, which I always thought was just dad stuff, so much more. Positivity, love of family, sports, and not just as a fan, but as a participant. The value of hard work and always doing your best all came from my dad, the advice that he wanted to give. I resisted at first because I was young, and back then I thought of them just as dad stuff. Today, all of those values represent all of my core values, which led me to become the man that my dad wanted. Someone who loves life, family, people, competing at sports, and good work. That dad pushed me to compete with myself, to always be better, to always do my best at everything for gifts beyond any value. Thank you, Dad, for everything you taught us, showed us, and meant to us. Thank you for meaning so much to so many. We hope to continue your legacy and grow it for generations to come. I'm so proud of you, your son. And the youngest Ken wrote, my father was many things to many people, and to all he was kind. He also was a wise and sage advisor to many. You never failed to offer advice to me, my wife, Anna Maria, and my 3 children, Stephanie, Annette, and Robert. While many of you had your own unique experience with my father, Arnie, and I could share many lessons he taught my family over the years, I thought I would share a passage from Proverbs. I have to tell you, this is the first time in 52 years that a mourner took Proverbs and said, I want to quote from Proverbs. True, true. Good choice. I opened upon last Saturday evening. However, before I read the passage, I thought I would give you some background. Saturday night, as I was trying to find some peace with Dad's sudden passing, and hopefully to be able to get some sleep, I turned to 2 books by my bedside. The illustrated book of Psalms, I'd like to see that sometimes, and the book of Proverbs. While I typically read Psalms for comfort, that still small voice said, try Proverbs tonight. So I picked up the book of Proverbs and opened it randomly to a section. This is the section that opened. Proverbs chapter 4, verses 6. A father's wise advice. My children, listen when your father corrects you. Pay attention and learn good judgment. For I am giving you good guidance. Now, I realize that the book of Proverbs, God is saying this, but in some ways it's certainly illustrative of who Arnie was and how he tried to share with his own family. I'm giving you good guidance. Don't turn away from my instructions. For I too was once my father's son, tenderly loved as my mother's only child. My father taught me, take my words to heart. Follow my commands and you will live. Get wisdom, develop good judgment. Don't forget my words or turn away from them. Don't turn your back on wisdom, for she will protect you. Love her. She will guard you. Getting wisdom is the wisest thing you can do. And whatever else you do, develop good judgment. If you prize wisdom, she will make you great. Embrace her. She will honor you. She will place a lovely wreath on your head. She will present you with a beautiful crown. My child, listen to me. As I say, you will have a long retreat. Indeed, my father did have a good long life. He rests now peacefully. I hope all of us remember him fondly for the wisdom and advice he so generously offered. We love you, Dad. These tender words, all of you, Michael included, these are words of sincerity. Words born out of the wonderful relationships that you have with this very special human being. So at this time, for you, his grandchildren and great-grandchildren, we hope and we pray that what it is that he taught you will not just remain as a memory for you, but remain as a focus. Give him immortality by living as he tried to live in those high moments. To you as children, for all of you, and those whom you have brought into this loving family, may you all find strength and courage in how you live, and the demands and the challenges that he left for you. Because that will make you better human beings, just as he wanted. And to you, Susan, these are, of course, difficult moments. And for a while, they will get more difficult. Because they are sudden. Because you've lived 42 years together and shared the joys and the sorrows. They have both been a part of it. to always share the dreams together. Those things that you'll pass on to your children and grandchildren. May you find strength in days to come. It is in that spirit then that we resolve to face our grief without self-pity, but with bravery and integrity, keeping before us forever the blessings that God conferred upon us. In this life that He but lent to us for these many decades. And in a world where our most precious goods are perishable, we must resolve to honor our beloved dead by being so good to the living, so kindly, so understanding, so forgiving, so transcendent of pettiness. In our love for Him, we shall hearken to those who remain and who need us in our strength. May it be through new relationships and new service to humanity that we make good our loss. In the beauty of our own lives, erect a noblest monument to our Lord. Unless the beauty of His life shall never abide among us all. It's a living, loving benediction. Adonai Natan v'Adonai Lakach. Yehi Shem Adonai Mevarach Me'atav Yadalon. God is given. God is taken away. Praise be the name of God now and forevermore. And let us all say together. Amen. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember Him. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember Him. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember Him. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember Him. In the blueness of the sky and in the heat of the summer, we will remember Him. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember Him. And we are weary and in need of strength. We will remember Him. We are lost and sick at heart. We will remember Him. When we have joys we long to share, we will remember Him. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we will remember Him. When we have achievements based on His, we will remember Him. So long as we live, He too shall live. For He now is a part of us, and we will remember Him. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yatzar etchem b'tzalmo v'zam v'kol etchem b'tuvo. והמית אתכם בדרך ונטע בתוככם חיי עולם ברוכתם. Praise you, O Lord God, ruler of the universe, who forms us in the divine image, who nourishes and sustains us in your goodness, causing all of us to die and planting immortal life within us. Praise you, O God, the judge of truth. מכלכל חיים בחסד וחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. שמח נפלו ברבי חולים ומתיר עשויים. וקיים אמונתו לשם יפה. Eternal is your might, O God, all right is your gift. Great is your power to save. With love you sustain the living. With great compassion you give life to all. You send help to the falling and healing to the sick. Bring freedom to the captive and keep faith with those who sleep in the dust. We praise you, O God, who implants eternal life within us. Spirit of God. many obligations that warriors have to you at the moment. I think I shared with you yesterday, spouses mourning for one another, brothers and sisters for one another. I think it's the last. The children for parents, and sometimes parents for children. And that's just the way of the world. But one of the things that we do, because it's not the way to do it, express it, a garment. Take a ribbon and you tear it. Somebody to ask you to put those ribbons out. And you all say with me, Baruch, Atah, Adonai, Elohim, Melech, Dayan, HaEmet. Those are you already. Ruler of the universe. Just judge. Just judge. The dust returns to the earth as it was. The spirit returns to God who gave it. It is only the house of the spirit which we have laid within the bosom of the earth. But the spirit itself cannot die. For here too our dear ones continuing on loving remembrance of those to whom they were precious. Receive the mercy of God, the soul of our beloved Arnold Greenberg. Grant him that everlasting peace which you have prepared for us in the world to come. For no human eye has seen nor ear has heard. The mind has compassed it. Still is our sure inheritance and our everlasting portion. Now and forevermore. I would ask you now, dear family and friends, to please rise as we are able to recite the words that have been hallowed by centuries of faith. Words that have been glorified in our traditional words. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shirava, Yalma Tivrach Yivate, Yamlich Mafute, Hayechon Yamechon, Yabudaka Hate Israel, God Allah is Mount Kari, Amen. Yehei Shemera Bamavara, Leolam Priya Me Almighty, Yitkara, Yishkara, Yitfa'al, Yitfa'man, Yitnaseh. Yitadar, Yitaled, Yitalad. Shemei the Kucha, Yifu. Leila min Kodu Fata Vishiata. Tush Pakata Vishiata. And you Yalma and you. Shalom Rabba, Shalom Abachim. Elena, Yaakov, Israel, who say Shalom to them. Who say Shalom? Israel. Yom Rachamim Shechim Bamim. When it's seen enough from the phone, talk like Shechim. In Kedoshim, the whole in the Zohar, Harakim Azarim. Et Nishmat Yakireni. שהלך לעולמו. הרחמים, יסתירנו בשמחה כנפיו לעולמים. ויצרור בצרור החיים לנשמתו. ומאיר ולכלותו ורוח קדושה. That full compassion. To the Spirit of the universe, grant perfect blessed in your sheltering presence. To Arnold Greenberg, sent to eternity. God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence. Let his soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. Be thou his possession. Departed from the now remember has been called unto the peace of life eternal. He shall steward on earth in the acts of goodness he has performed. And in the hearts of those who will ever cherish his memory, pray that the beauty of his life ever abide among us all as a living benediction. May the source of peace send peace unto all who mourn. May God comfort all the bereaved among us and in Israel, and all the nations and the families of earth. It's also together. Dear friends, the family would like to know that they will be at the Legacy, at the Pinnacle, Legacy Pinnacle, 2990 East 17th, immediately following the service until 4 o'clock. Your visits to the family would be greatly appreciated. We hope and we pray that you will be able to share with them and visit with them. On your next piece of love and common on your way, for God has called you. Lech Vadonai Yehimach, go your way. May God be with you. Halach lefanecha tzidkecha. Lord, that we may expect righteousness go before you. It's also together.
Of our service, if I may invite all those in attendance to come this way to make a pathway, 2 lines facing one another, so the family can pass through on the way to their family.
Yes.
Just walk straight through. Don't say.
That's the truth.